You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. There's nothing quite like being insulted with a smile. That's what Thanksgiving felt like every damn year with my in-laws. One long dinner full of fake grins, veiled jabs, and watching them pretend they didn't need me while quietly living off my paycheck. My name's Joe Landry, I'm 35, work full-time as a mechanic in Huntsville, Alabama, and I've been married to Melanie for 8 years. We don't have kids, just bills, mostly ones I shouldn't even be paying. This Thanksgiving started the same way they always did. Me driving the two of us across town in my beat-up Silverado, while Melanie practiced fake optimism like a script. They're trying this year, Joe. Just give them a chance. I didn't answer. What was the point? Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. We pulled into the same cookie-cutter subdivision her parents have lived in for 20 years. From the outside, you'd think they were still doing great. Fresh mulch, holiday wreath, even a new SUV parked in the driveway. But I knew better. The house was mortgaged to hell, the car was leased, and the credit cards were maxed out, again. I cut the engine and sat there for a second, hands still on the wheel. "You coming?" Melanie asked, already unbuckling. I forced a smile and nodded. "Yeah, let's do it." As soon as we stepped inside, the cold front hit, figuratively and literally. Her mom barely looked up from the kitchen. "Oh, you made it," she said. No hug, no warmth. Her dad was on the couch, watching football and nursing a beer that I probably paid for. "Joe," he muttered, not looking away from the screen. "Still working that grease job." Melanie gave me a quick squeeze on the arm, like that was supposed to cancel out the punch to the gut. I just gritted my teeth and walked in, holding a tray of pies and mashed potatoes I'd stayed up making after a 10-hour shift. The kitchen smelled like burnt stuffing and cheap wine. I set the food down without anyone helping or even thanking me. Her dad finally looked over. "You didn't forget the whipped cream this time, did you?" He laughed, but it wasn't a joke. Melanie tried to laugh along. I didn't. I just stared back at him and said, "Nope." Brought extra. Didn't want to ruin the one thing I'm good for, right? He raised his eyebrows, like I'd stepped out of line. I walked past him anyway, toward the dining room, muttering, "Happy damn Thanksgiving." I had just set down the pies when the front door swung open like someone important had arrived. "Ty's here," Melanie's mom called out, her voice suddenly 10 times louder and 3 shades happier. "Here we go." In walked Tyler, Melanie's younger brother, wearing some overpriced zip-up jacket with a logo I didn't recognize. Hair gelled, smile locked and loaded. Lacey followed behind, tall, spray-tanned, and decked out like she was heading to a photo shoot, not family dinner. Tight red dress, heels that didn't belong in a house with carpet, and fake nails that looked like they could open paint cans. "Hey, fam," Tyler said, arms out like he was accepting an award. "We brought gifts." He handed Melanie's dad a fancy black box. Limited edition Japanese whiskey, only 300 bottles made. Gasps, literal gasps. You'd think he handed them the Holy Grail. Melanie's mom practically squealed. "Oh my God, Ty, this is stunning." "Lacey, look at this man of yours." Lacey giggled and leaned into Tyler's shoulder. "He's always spoiling people." I stood there, holding my now sweating tray of mashed potatoes like a damn potluck amateur. No one even looked my way. Lacey's eyes landed on me for a second. "You must be Joe," she said, smiling with her mouth but not her eyes. "Melanie said you're really into, like, homemade stuff." I nodded. "Yup, made the pies and potatoes." "That's so quaint," she said, dragging the word out like it was some antique insult. Melanie tried to laugh it off, but I saw her glance down at the tray like she was embarrassed. That stung more than I wanted to admit. We moved to the dining room, and I found myself shuffled to the far end of the table, practically parked next to the kids' folding chairs. Tyler got the seat right next to their dad, with Lacey between Melanie and her mom, like royalty surrounded by their admirers. Dinner started with a toast to success and family, led by Tyler, of course. He clinked his whiskey glass and gave a little speech. Grateful to be back home with the people who matter most. It's been a big year. Launched 2 ventures, did some angel investing, you know how it goes. I didn't. But apparently everyone else did, because the nodding and fake laughing were non-stop. Melanie tried pulling me in. "Joe rebuilt an engine from scratch last week. That's pretty amazing, right?" Lacey gave a tight smile. Like, for a client, or just for fun. For a client, I said. It's a 72 Chevelle. Transmission was trashed, took 3 days. Tyler raised his glass. Still turning wrenches, huh? I looked at him. Yup, still paying bills with real work. He smirked like that was cute. Hey, nothing wrong with a hands-on guy. Not everyone wants to scale. Scale what? I asked, already knowing I'd regret it. Oh, you know, businesses, assets, lifestyle. I'm about building empires, not clocking in. Melanie kicked me under the table. I stayed quiet, focused on the turkey like it owed me money. Her dad leaned in toward Tyler. Tell them about that NFT thing you flipped for 10 grand. More oohs and ahs followed while I sat there chewing, completely invisible. Lacey reached for the champagne. We might move to Austin. There's just so much energy there. Like, everyone's creating something, not just maintaining stuff. I knew exactly who that was aimed at, and so did Melanie, but she said nothing. At some point, Melanie's sister asked me how the shop was going. Before I could answer, Tyler cut in again. Must be tough with all the electric stuff coming out, huh? Like, you'll have to retrain soon, right? I looked him dead in the eye. Nair, still plenty of folks who want engines that don't require a software update to start. He chuckled and sipped his whiskey. Fair enough, man. Gotta stick to what you know. I nodded. Exactly. And that's when I realized what this whole dinner was. A stage. One big production where Tyler got to be the star. And I was just the guy who brought potatoes and didn't belong. But I stayed in my seat, quiet, watching, counting every fake laugh and backhanded compliment, waiting. I sat at that table listening to Tyler ramble about blockchains and scaling verticals, and all I could think about was how the hell we ended up here. Him playing CEO, her parents drooling over his every word, and me, footed at the bottom like some distant cousin no one invited. 8 years ago, none of them had this energy. Back then, her dad had just run his little used car lot into the ground. Poor inventory, high-interest loans, sketchy deals. It all caught up to him. One day, Melanie came home crying, said her parents were 2 months behind on the mortgage and the bank was breathing down their necks. He's too proud to ask, she told me, but we can cover 1 month just to keep them afloat. 1 month, that's how it always starts. I wrote a check for $800 that night. Figured it was a one-time thing, help them out, move on. But then her mom's car broke down. Then the power bill came in late. Then her little sister couldn't afford her next semester at UAB, and somehow I was the solution to all of it. I never agreed to be their personal bailout fund, but every time I said no, it turned into a fight with Melanie. They're family, Joe. Yeah, my family pays their own damn bills. Pretty soon it became normal. I'd pay the mortgage difference when her dad's disability check didn't cover it. I added their car insurance to my plan so they wouldn't lose coverage. I even co-signed on a student loan I never saw a cent of. All of it slipped into the routine like oil into an engine. Quiet, unnoticed, but always running. Every month, like clockwork, $1,050 gone. That was groceries we skipped, vacations we never took, repairs my own truck needed, and they never once said thank you. Not once. They treated it like I owed them. Like my job was to keep the lights on while they played pretend in their fake little mansion. It wasn't just the money. It was the way they acted like I was always one wrong move from being dismissed. Never fully accepted. Always introduced as Melanie's husband, like my name didn't matter. Meanwhile, Tyler was off chasing dreams. Day trading crypto, launching startups, burning through investor money. And every year, he showed up at Thanksgiving with some new girlfriend, a fancy watch, and a bottle of overpriced liquor, and got treated like a damn hero. I paid for their Wi-Fi, and they called him a genius for buying Dogecoin. Melanie knew about the money, she saw the bank transfers, she even helped me budget around it. But she never pushed back, never stood up. Every time I brought it up, she got quiet or said something like, "It's just until they get back on their feet." They'd been off their feet so long, I forgot what it looked like when they were standing. We lived modest. 2-bedroom rental, secondhand furniture, coupons for date nights. I worked weekends, I skipped vacations, I picked up side jobs. All while sending over that $1,050 like a second mortgage on someone else's life. And what did I get for it? Cold greetings, eye rolls, backhanded jokes about my working man hands and my wrench-turning job. 8 years of smiling through it because rocking the boat meant drowning in guilt trips. But sitting at that table now, watching Tyler pass around rare whiskey while Lacey bragged about wellness retreats, I started to feel something shift. This wasn't generosity anymore. It was theft. And I was the idiot who let them steal with a smile. I took a bite of pie, tasted nothing. Melanie leaned in and whispered, "You okay?" I nodded once, kept chewing. But inside, I was counting, not just the money, every favor, every bill, every damn insult. I didn't just show up to that dinner angry, I earned it. 2 days before Thanksgiving, I was under a '99 Silverado until 10 at night. Oil in my hair, wrists swollen from fighting with a rusted bolt. And I still stopped at the store on the way home to grab fresh sage because Melanie said her mom likes the good stuff. Wednesday, I worked a half day at the shop, then came home and cooked like it was my damn job. Mashed potatoes, pecan pie, sweet potato casserole, cornbread stuffing, all from scratch. I didn't cut corners, didn't grab store-bought shortcuts. I even called my own mom for her old pie crust recipe, because Melanie swore this year needed to feel special. She walked in while I was elbow-deep in dough and said, "They're trying, Joe. I know it doesn't seem like it, but they're making an effort." I didn't look up. "Sure they are. Don't go into it angry," she said. "Just give them a chance, please." So I nodded. I didn't argue. I bit my tongue. Again. Thanksgiving morning, I loaded up the truck by myself. 2 full coolers, 3 trays, desserts packed carefully in foil. Melanie was still doing her hair, while I carried everything out in the cold. Not a single thank you. Not even a need help. By the time we pulled up, I was already stiff from lifting and exhausted from pretending not to care. And when we got there, same old story. I hauled the food in by myself, tray by tray. Walked past her dad, who didn't even pause the game. Her mom looked at the foil and said, "Just set it in the kitchen. I'll see what I have room for." I opened the fridge, stuffed with pre-made side dishes from the grocery store and a thawing turkey breast that still had ice in it. The oven was blasting but smelled like something had already burned. I said, "I can carve the turkey when it's ready if you want." She waved her hand. "Tyler usually handles that." Right. An hour later, in walked the king and queen. Tyler and Lacey didn't carry a single bag. No sides, no desserts, just 1 bottle of champagne with a black and gold label like it came from a Bond movie. But you'd think they were Santa Claus and Miss America the way everyone lit up. "There's my baby!" their mom shouted, kissing both their cheeks. Her dad turned off the game. "Ty, you made it, and look at this bottle." Melanie's sister clapped. "I saw that brand on TikTok. It's like $500. No one looked at the pies cooling on the counter. No one asked who made the cornbread. No one even noticed the hours of prep sitting right in front of them. Lacey popped the champagne like it was New Year's. "To good taste," she said, pouring it out into mismatched wine glasses. I watched Melanie force a smile. She knew. She knew exactly what was happening, and she still didn't say a damn thing. Dinner started late because Tyler wanted to let the turkey rest. He carved it like he was doing a surgery demo, while the rest of the food sat untouched on the sideboard. Her mom said, "We've come a long way from dry birds, huh?" Lacey leaned over her plate. "Tyler's the only one I trust with a knife." She giggled like it was charming. I glanced at my stuffing, barely scooped into, and then at the untouched casserole. The pies hadn't even been sliced. All that time, all that effort. And I was just background noise to their celebration. I looked down the table at Tyler, still talking with his hands like he was pitching a TED Talk. And that was when I stopped pretending this was a family dinner. Once the plates were filled and everyone sat down, the show really kicked off. Tyler launched into a story about partnering with some guys in Miami on a crypto logistics platform, whatever the hell that meant. Lacey threw in buzzwords like decentralized fulfillment and global scalability, like she was trying to impress a room full of investors. Her mom nodded like it all made sense. "So proud of you two. You're just on another level." Melanie shifted beside me. "Joe had a busy month at the shop. They did a full rebuild on a Camaro that had, what was it, honey? Frame damage." I cleared my throat. "Yeah, rear end was twisted. Had to realign the chassis before even touching the drivetrain." Silence. Then Lacey tilted her head. "So, like, you do all that manually?" "Yeah, I'm a mechanic." She smiled like I'd said I cleaned sewers. "That must be so grounding, you know? not having to think in scale all the time. I stabbed my fork into a piece of turkey and didn't answer. Melanie tried again. He actually saved some of the tougher jobs for himself, stuff most guys won't touch. Tyler chuckled and shook his head. You always did like getting your hands dirty. Her dad jumped in. Better than sitting around trading fake money, huh? He laughed like he was joking, but the look he gave Tyler said otherwise. Lacey didn't miss a beat. That fake money helped us put a down payment on our loft. 2 bedrooms, downtown Nashville, fully furnished. Loft. Melanie's mom's eyes lit up. With a private balcony and smart everything, Lacey said, clearly loving the attention. Lights, locks, even the espresso machine. I looked down the table. No one had touched my cornbread. The sweet potatoes were going cold. One of the pies was still wrapped in foil. Tyler leaned back in his chair and said, "The plan now is to raise a seed round and launch in the first quarter. Once that happens, we'll probably spend a few months in Austin, or maybe even Lisbon. Crypto's hot over there." Her mom gasped like he'd announced a royal tour. "Portugal, you two are just jet setters." I kept chewing. Melanie tried again, voice softer now. "Joe's been helping my dad manage their bills this year." It's been a lot, honestly. Tyler waved a hand. "Yeah, I try not to get involved in that stuff. Family and money, messy mix." I nearly laughed. Messy mix. I was the only reason any of them still had lights on? Lacey took a sip of her champagne. "You must be used to that though, right, Joe? I mean, not having a scalable career forces you into other types of contributions." Melanie stiffened next to me. I didn't say a word, just kept my eyes on my plate. "I mean," Lacey went on, "not everyone's path is upward. Some people support in, quieter ways, and that's valid too." I looked up slowly. Quieter. She smiled. "You know, behind the scenes, less forward-facing." Tyler chuckled. "Yeah, the unsung heroes." That's when I felt it, that snap in the back of my neck, that low hum of pressure building in my jaw. I wanted to flip the whole table, but I didn't move. I didn't even blink. Then Lacey leaned in, resting her elbow on the table like she was sharing a secret. "Honestly, Joe, if we're being real, you're only tolerated because you pay bills, not because you're family." The air went dead. Forks froze midair. Even the football game from the living room sounded like it had cut out. Melanie whispered, "Lacey?" But I just sat there, knife and fork still in hand, heart pounding, mouth dry. I looked at Lacey, then at Tyler, then back down at my plate and cut another piece of turkey. I didn't say a damn thing, not yet. I finished chewing, set my fork down, and looked straight at Lacey. "Cool," I said. "Since I'm only tolerated for paying bills, I guess y'all won't mind picking up the $12,600 starting next month." Silence. Melanie's mom blinked like she didn't hear me right. Her dad lowered his beer. Tyler stopped mid-sip of his champagne. I kept going. "That's how much I've been covering every year, give or take. Mortgage shortfall, $750 a month. Her dad's truck insurance. That's another $150. Then there's the Wi-Fi, gas card, groceries every third week, and Rachel's student loans that never actually ended. Oh, and guess whose iPhone is on my Verizon plan?" I pointed my fork right at Tyler. He raised his hands like I'd pulled a gun on him. "Whoa, man. I didn't ask for that." "No, your mom did. And Melanie said it'd just be temporary until your next project kicked off. That was 2 years ago." Melanie reached for my arm. "Joe, maybe not now." No, I said. "Apparently I'm not family. I'm just the bill fairy. So, let's put numbers to it, yeah." I turned to her mom. "You remember asking me to add your electricity to my auto pay because you were having bank issues. That was back in February. You never took it off. I've been paying that too." Her face went pale. Her dad sat up straighter but didn't say a word. I turned to Tyler. "You remember last Christmas? That little Zelle transfer for $400 you accidentally got sent to your Coinbase account instead of back to me." Tyler squinted. "Man, I don't really... You said you'd pay it back when Bitcoin rebounded." Okay, relax." "No," I said, louder now. "We're doing math. We're doing facts. Because you all sit here playing rich, popping champagne, mocking people who turn wrenches, and meanwhile, I've been bankrolling this circus." Lacey stared at me like I was speaking another language. You're being super aggressive right now. Am I? I said, standing up. I picked up my napkin, folded it carefully, and placed it on the table like I wasn't about to blow the roof off. You know what's aggressive, getting laughed at while paying for the guy doing the laughing. Tyler opened his mouth, but I cut him off. And don't give me that "I don't like to get in the middle of family stuff" bullshit. You are the middle. Every damn one of you takes without blinking and calls it love. Meanwhile, I'm the working idiot pulling double shifts just so you don't lose your precious fake reputation in this busted-ass house you can't even afford. Melanie was frozen, quiet, staring at her plate. I turned to her mom. She looked like she'd just watched her own funeral. You're right, I told her. Paying bills doesn't make me family. Then I nodded to Tyler. So it's your turn now, golden boy. Enjoy that 12-6 split across 12 months. You can even scale it. Lacey scoffed. What the hell does that mean? It means, I said, I'm out. I pulled out my chair, stepped away from the table, and didn't bother clearing my plate. No one moved, not a word, not even Melanie. I walked straight through the kitchen, past the untouched pies, past the counter full of food nobody wanted because it wasn't covered in designer labels or poured from a bottle worth more than their rent. At the front door, I grabbed my jacket off the hook and yanked it on. Her mom called after me, voice weak. Joe, come on, don't do this. This is a holiday. I opened the door without turning around. Yeah, I said, and this is the last one I'm paying for. I didn't go for a drive, didn't stop to cool off. I went straight home, boots still on, jacket zipped. I sat down at the kitchen table, flipped open my laptop, and logged into the bank. First stop, the mortgage auto pay. 2 clicks, canceled. No more, just to stay afloat. Let 'em sink or swim without me. Then the insurance portal. I'd added her dad's truck and her mom's sedan back in 2019, right after their old plan lapsed. I remembered Melanie crying over the phone, begging me to handle it. Said her parents were overwhelmed. Removed both vehicles. Clicked over to Verizon. Tyler's phone was still listed under my account, labeled Tyler L. Like I needed a reminder. Removed it. Canceled Rachel's tablet line too. Then came the utilities. Power, gas, and water, all tied to a debit card I no longer wanted them to have access to. Changed the billing info, logged out, logged back in to make sure it stuck. Cable, gone. Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, Spotify Premium, all shut down. Every service tied to my email or card. If they used it, I killed it. Then I pulled up the spreadsheet I'd been quietly keeping for the last 2 years. Yeah, I kept receipts. I knew this moment would come. Maybe not like this, but I'd been tracking every favor down to the penny. I highlighted the totals, rent shortages, grocery runs. The time I paid for a brake job on their car because it's too dangerous to drive without it. Final number, $12,638.74. I leaned back in my chair and let it hit. That was a used car. That was half a down payment on a decent house. That was 2 years of my life spent subsidizing people who laughed at me over dinner. I went into every account I owned and changed every password. Bank, email, insurance, Apple ID, everything. 2-factor authentication on. Recovery codes stored offline. I even switched my emergency contact from Melanie to my buddy Nate. He lived 3 blocks away and actually answered the phone when I called. Then I took my wallet, pulled out the debit card linked to all their nonsense, and cut it straight down the middle with a pair of kitchen scissors. Dropped the pieces in the trash, stood up, walked to the fridge, cracked open a cold beer. I stood in the kitchen for a minute, letting the quiet fill the house. No texts, no notifications. Just the soft hum of the fridge and the cold taste of something earned. I didn't care what they were saying back at that table. Didn't care if Melanie was crying, or if her mom was shocked, or if Tyler was spinning the story to save face. They'd feel the silence real soon, when the lights shut off, when the Wi-Fi cut out, when the phone plans went dead. And maybe then, they'd finally understand what I was really paying for. That night, I slept like a damn stone. I woke up late the next morning with no alarm, no back pain, no tension in my chest. Just sunlight cutting through the blinds and silence. I rolled over, checked my phone. 43 missed calls, 17 voicemails, 30-something texts, most of them from Melanie, the rest. Her parents, her sister, 2 from Tyler, 1 from an unknown number. I was 99% sure was Lacey. First message popped up before 6 a.m. Melanie, call me back right now. It's serious. My dad had a health episode because of last night. I stared at it for a second, then kept scrolling. More guilt, more panic. Her mom claiming they couldn't get into the power bill account. Her sister begging me to just turn the Wi-Fi back on until finals are over. Then a voice message from Melanie. He's in bed with chest pain, Joe. You humiliated him. I don't even recognize you. This isn't okay. My family is in crisis. I hit play on the next one. Tyler. Hey man, just reaching out. No hard feelings. I'll pick up some of the smaller stuff, like utilities or whatever. Obviously not the mortgage, but I can do my part. I laughed out loud. Do your part. That would have required a backbone and a job. Next voicemail, her mom this time. We don't deserve this, Joe. I know we're not perfect, but punishing everyone like this, especially Mel. This isn't the man I welcomed into my home. Yeah, the woman who couldn't even thank me for pies. I skipped through a few more until one stopped me cold. Aunt Rachel. Her voice was calm, low, real. Hey, Joe. It's Rachel. I heard what happened. Just wanted to say, you did the right thing. I know it probably doesn't feel like it now, but trust me, it needed to happen. Finally. Call me if you need anything. No pressure, no guilt, just a clean line of truth. I sat there holding the phone, the only sound in the room being the low buzz of silence filling in all the space that used to be smothered in fake responsibility. The health episode turned out to be nothing. Melanie finally admitted over text that her dad was just resting and refusing to eat. No hospital, no paramedics, no real condition. Just good old-fashioned emotional blackmail dressed up like an emergency. I didn't reply. I didn't call Tyler back. I didn't explain myself to Melanie's mom or sister. And I damn sure didn't feel bad. The sick thing was, I thought I would. I expected to wake up twisted up in my gut, questioning everything, wondering if I'd gone too far. That's how they always made me feel, like I was the crazy one for wanting respect, for having limits. But I felt clear, in control, like I'd finally found the brakes after riding the clutch down a mountain. Melanie called again later that night, left a voicemail I didn't even listen to. If she wanted to pick her family, she could have them, but she'd do it without my paycheck. I took the trash out, poured a drink, and sat on the porch while the air turned cool. No noise, no weight, just peace. And for the first time in 8 years, I didn't owe anybody a damn thing. That quiet stuck with me. Next morning, I woke up, made eggs, and didn't check my phone once. No missed calls, no emergencies, just silence, like the house was finally breathing on its own. I started going to therapy that week, found a no-nonsense guy named Barry, retired Army, spoke in blunt sentences, and didn't coddle. He asked why I waited so long to set boundaries. Because I thought being a good husband meant sacrificing everything, I said. He just nodded and said, not if it means becoming nothing. That hit hard. I joined a gym down the street. Nothing fancy, iron weights, loud music, no yoga mats, just people trying to feel like people again. I went every other day, didn't even care about the numbers, just liked feeling sore for something that was actually mine. Nate started coming over more. We grilled burgers, worked on his Mustang, cracked open beers without whispering. We laughed like we used to before everything got so damn heavy. I found a small 2-bedroom place outside Decatur. Not much to look at, but it was mine. Bought it straight up with the money I'd been bleeding into her family's mess for years. Painted the walls myself, put in shelves, set up a little garage out back. Nothing commercial, just for fun. And I actually started working on cars for fun again. Not deadlines, not invoices. Just me, an engine, and silence. I fixed up an old '85 El Camino I'd picked up cheap before the wedding. Thing had sat under a tarp for 8 years, waiting for me to have time. Now, I had all the time in the world. Melanie called, texted, sent long paragraphs about how we could still fix this. But she never once said she'd cut them off. Not even once. I told her I was filing, clean, uncontested. No drama, she cried, blamed me, said I was abandoning her in the middle of everything. But I'd already been abandoned for years. I didn't feel cold. I didn't feel cruel. I just felt done. Rachel came by with a housewarming gift, homemade banana bread and a 6-pack. She looked around the new place, smiled, and said, "Looks like peace found you." "Yeah," I said. "Took its damn time. She was the only one from that side who didn't make me feel like a wallet. She checked in without asking for anything, brought up real stuff, asked how I was doing. That's when I started seeing the difference. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. Chosen family shows up empty-handed and still gives you more than the ones you paid for. Nate helped me paint the garage. Rachel helped me find a decent lawyer. Guys from the gym invited me out for wings. I started laughing again, real chest-deep laughing that didn't feel like a lie. I thought I'd miss them, her family, the chaos, the weird holiday routines. But I didn't. I didn't miss the guilt. I didn't miss the games. I didn't miss wondering if this was the weekend I'd finally be enough. I just missed myself. But now I had him back. Thanksgiving hit different this time. No traffic, no forced smiles, no sweating over pies that'd end up untouched. Just me, a booth by the window at Riverview Diner, plate of turkey and stuffing in front of me, and steam rising off a cup of diner coffee. The Tennessee River moved slow outside the glass. Gray sky, cold air, quiet water. Peaceful, no one demanding anything, no one keeping score. I raised my cup and toasted the empty seat across from me. To freedom, I said. Some folks might have found it sad, eating alone on Thanksgiving. But I didn't feel alone. I felt clear, like I'd finally stepped out of a storm I didn't even know I was in. House was mine. Bills were mine. Every dollar I earned went where I wanted. I slept like a rock. I ate when I was hungry. I laughed when something was funny, not when I was supposed to. Phone buzzed once in my jacket. Melanie, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're well. That was it. No apology, no update. Just bland, empty words from someone who never figured out how to stand up without standing on me. I deleted the message without even opening the thread. No anger, just nothing left. I flagged the waitress and paid cash. Told her to keep the change, then stepped outside into the cold. Pulled my coat tighter and smiled into the wind. I'd booked a weekend in Gatlinburg. Solo cabin, no itinerary, no family drama. Just hiking, cold beer, and maybe a few long naps. Used to feel guilty doing things for myself. Now, it felt like breathing. Walked down to the river's edge, hands in my pockets, and took a deep breath. It had been a hell of a year. I'd torn it all down, marriage, fake loyalty, years of silent resentment, and rebuilt something real out of it. And standing there, watching the water roll past, one thought kept looping in my head. Paying bills doesn't make you family, but it sure tells you who's not.